you now. So today's topic we have is what is tragedy? Tragedy is just a word, एक छोटा सा वर्ड है लेकिन जिस पे बीतती है उसे लगता है कि यार कब खत्म होगी, क्या हो रहा है. अगर आप देखो तो हिस्ट्री इज फुल ऑफ ट्रेजेडीज. If you just check about these things, the Bollywood songs and every other thing has a reference of tragedy. It's like the important thing. There are so many songs. दुनिया में कितना गम है, मेरा गम कितना कम है, आज पुरानी राहों से कोई मुझे आवाज न दे. So today's topic, tragedy, which actually takes a strong, a strong part in entire literature. It's going to be related to UPSC and CUTPZ. But अगर आप नेट के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, आप UPPGD स्टूडेंट हैं, DSSB स्टूडेंट हैं, KV स्टूडेंट हैं, या फिर English literature के student हैं, it's going to be worthy, it's going to be a very special lecture for all of you. So before we start the lecture, just think about this. When the idea comes, what is tragedy? What actually comes in your mind? What is tragedy? सबसे पहले दिमाग में क्या आता है? A bad day, a bad life, destiny, किस्मत में नहीं लिखा था. Remember? But if we try to define it, what is the first idea of tragedy? If you're a student of CUTPZ, it is mentioned in your syllabus. If you're a student of UPSC, William Shakespeare, King Lear is clearly mentioned in your syllabus and you must know the tragedy. If you're a student of UGC NET, तो UGC NET को तो देखो दुनिया में सब पढ़ना पड़ता है. तो आपको तो ये भी पढ़ना पड़ेगा कि शेक्सपियर सब्जी कहाँ से खरीदता था. So, in short, this is very important for all of you. Let's see how many of you are live because this gives me confidence. Wow. So 30 students are live in 2 minutes. This will go to 200. चलो. And please take pen and paper because RPSC students के लिए exam है 21st में. Maharashtra set. It's coming in the month of April. So, just get ready for the points. What is tragedy? The first thing that you have to see is the history of the tragedy. See, the most important thing is it is Aristotle who first ever talks about this thing. So, what you have to write it down. If we're talking about the history of tragedy, the first person who talks about this is Aristotle. सबसे पहले Aristotle ने बात की थी. Now, who is Aristotle? If you know about Aristotle, Aristotle is Arastu, the teacher of Alexander the Great. Alexander का महान teacher Arastu. Arastu का महान teacher Plato. Plato's teacher Socrates. So remember this point. Now, what happens? Aristotle is the first person who talks about this idea of tragedy in his famous work Poetics. I have given my free lecture on poetics. YouTube पे मेरा free lecture भी है. If you are registered online batch student, I will teach you Aristotle separately. So first thing remember, Aristotle's Poetics is the first thing that deals with the tragedy. So first historical reference we have is Aristotle. बहुत पहले इन्होंने tragedy के बारे में बात की. Now this tragedy chapter, Poetics, it had 26 chapters. And in 26 chapters, chapter 6 to 19. Chapter 6 to chapter 19, Aristotle defined tragedy. Aristotle defined tragedy. The complete definition of tragedy comes here. Chapter 6 to chapter 19. In Poetics, it talks about 26 chapters, but these special chapters, 6 to 19, kitna hua? 14 chapters. Total 14 chapters are dedicated, devoted to tragedy. I hope ये line cut नहीं रही है, बाहर नहीं जा रही है. Okay, it's quite visible. Now see my friends, in 14 chapters, when Aristotle talks about tragedy, he came with a definition of tragedy. सबसे पहले उन्होंने एक definition दिया. वैसे, what is your definition of tragedy? Write it in the comments, okay? Don't go for some writer's definition. The best thing that you should learn in literature is to have your own opinions. आपके according ट्रेजेडी क्या है? व्हाट इज योर डेफिनेशन? अगर आपको चूज करना पड़े, आपके अकॉर्डिंग चूज हो और आपको लगे कि चलो यू हैव टू डिफाइन, सो व्हाट्स योर आइडिया? वन ऑफ द मॉडर्न डेफिनेशन ऑफ ट्रेजेडी इज by G.K. Chesterton. G.K. Chesterton gave the modern definition of tragedy. Tragedy is in which A lot of good is wasted along with bad. Tragedy is in which a lot of good is wasted along with bad. अच्छे के साथ साथ बुरे के साथ साथ बहुत सारा अच्छा भी खर्च हो जाता है. A lot of good is wasted along with bad. This is the modern day definition by G.K. Chesterton, one of the greatest writer, essayist, novelist. If you're a net student, if you have taken coaching classes and prepared well, and if you don't know this man, write this name, G.K. Chesterton. He was a friend of Hilary Belloc, and these two writers together were called hybrid birds. G.K. Chesterton's famous work is The Man Who Was Thursday. Reference दे रहा हूं दोस्तों. It's only for scholars. My lectures are only for scholars. The Man Who Was Thursday, detective novel. Very important. If you didn't know this man, if you didn't know this book, check your preparation now. And as the reference देके हम आगे चल रहे हैं, please remember, G.K. Chesterton is known for Father Brown series. Question of net exam. Father Brown series. Father Brown इसका detective hero है. Father Brown series. So now you got the idea, okay? Any smart student would understand that I have to read this. Now let's get back. अब हम वापस चलते हैं. So now getting back, we are talking about tragedy and 26 chapters, and we have understood that fine. Aristotle is the first man who talks about tragedy. But now, what is the definition of tragedy by Aristotle? One of the most important thing that you have to understand. Tragedy की definition Aristotle ने क्या दी है? That's really important. Do you know how they ask questions? They'll give you 4-line definitions, and then there will be certain words which will be missing. They will omit certain words. They will ask you to fill the blanks. तो आपको भरना पड़ेगा. First thing that you have to understand, tragedy is an imitation. First thing, tragedy क्या है according to Aristotle? Is an imitation. Tragedy सबसे पहले एक कॉपी है. Most important thing that you have to remember, it was a question of net exam that the foremost quality, the important quality of tragedy is option, too many deaths. Tragedy is imitation of life. Then some other option, a lot of pain, suffering and hamartia. Some students said too many deaths. बहुत सारी death मतलब tragedy. Okay. Too many deaths doesn't mean it's tragedy. What if the story is focusing the hero? Hero is alive. Hero kills 1,000 people. Hero is alive. Why will you feel tragic? Your hero is alive. KGF में जो KGF का हीरो था, कितने बंदों को मारता है? बाहुबली की फाइट में बाहुबली कितने लोगों को मारता है? But happy ending है. That's happy ending. So tragedy doesn't mean you have a lot of deaths. Try to understand. It's only for the scholars. Tragedy is an imitation. First thing that you have to understand, tragedy is an imitation, right? अब किसका imitation है? Not of persons and places. Tragedy is an imitation not of persons and places, but of life and actions of serious magnitude, embellished in a language Now see, tragedy is an imitation. The point that you have to underline, first thing, okay, I took the rubber. So tragedy is an imitation, first thing, or not of persons and places, but of Life and action. Another important thing that you have to see. First thing, it's imitation, life and action, which should be serious and has some magnitude. Serious, complete, and some magnitude. So you can also add one line. It should have action of serious, complete, and certain magnitude or some magnitude. ये भी point याद रखना है आपको. And some magnitude. Now, first thing, it should be a copy. Fine. Tragedy should not be the story of person or places. It is not the story of one person, one place, Delhi, Jaipur, Punjab. No. It's not the story of one man. It's not the story of one place. It is the story of life and action. Now, अब life और action भी कौन सा? You are going, you slept, you fell down, you got a pain in your waist, कमर दर्द हो गया. It is not tragedy. ये tragedy नहीं है. It cannot be the subject of tragedy. You wanted to eat ice cream, you got the ice cream, but when you're trying to unwrap, it fell down. आपकी आइसक्रीम आपके हाथ से गिर गई. It is not tragedy. Why? It should be serious, complete, and of certain magnitude, embellished in a language with each kind of artistic ornament. Serious, complete, magnitude होना चाहिए. Embellished in a language. अब इसके बाद क्या आएगा? Embellished in a language with each kind of artistic ornaments. With each kind of artistic ornament. Share this lecture with your college professors. I hope they like it. See, now tragedy is serious, fine. Tragedy's concept is serious. It has some standard. It's something big. A heartbreak, a real heartbreak can be subject of tragedy. Brothers killing brothers, the emotional damage, tragedy. Mother killed son, biggest emotional damage, tragedy. So it should have some standards. Then comes in a language. So in a language with each kind of artistic ornament means you should use literary devices. What is artistic ornament? Literary devices. So first of all, take a serious subject. Subject is serious. Then go for language with artistic ornament. Now, I'll rub this so that we can use the place to write. Each kind of artistic ornaments, fine, means we know all kind of literary devices. Each kind of artistic ornament okay, artistic ornament in the form of action, not of narrative. And being found in several parts of the play. And being found in several parts of the play. Arising pity, fear, and proper purgation. Arising pity, fear, and proper purgation. So now we need literary devices, fine. But in the form of action, they must be used. If it is a pun, it should be used. If it is a simile, it should be used. It should not be introduced. Not in the form of narrative. Narrative nahi hona chahiye. Not in the form of narrative. It should be used. Means when there is a joke, it should look like a joke. It should not be mentioned in the bracket. कि अरे हंसो, joke है. Remember the fake laughter comic shows? देखिए आपने comic shows? Wow, everybody's live. What happens in comic shows? they make a joke, but they also have fake laughter. Ha 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 ha. Especially the stand-up comedians. How they come? कल मैं दिल्ली से आ रहा था. Ha 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 ha. क्या हो गया इसमें? But they have those recorded things. In short, the lines have no jokes, the dialogues have no jokes, but they are adding it side from side. It's laughter. So it means literary devices should be used. पढ़ने में लगना चाहिए कि हाँ भैया पन है, right? For example, a famous example. नारी विच सारी है कि सारी विच नारी है कि नारी में ही सारी है कि सारी में ही नारी है. Tell me in the comments what are the literary devices, because I have used it. But suppose I write this and then in the bracket I tell you, hello dear reader, this is this device, that is that device. It should be used in action, not in narrative. Means for a better writing style, language should be something that is involving you. Then, and being found in several parts of the play, and being found in several parts of the play means you have literary devices, and it should not be like this, that fine, let it be. It is the all literary devices have been used in one first page. No. You want to write something, you know literary devices, you want to use it in your language, but आपने क्या किया? What did you do? You started using your literary devices in the very first page and you got done, ended. Just like machine gun. You had a lot of bullets, but you fired it at one direction. Now the rest of the directions, you have no bullets. So it should not be like this, that you have literary devices and you have given those literary devices in just one page, two page. It should be found in several parts of the play. The beginning of the play, the middle of the play, the denouement, the ending. In short, there should be a balance of using literary devices in your entire story. And then what is the target of the devices? Pity, fear, and proper purgation. They have to get it invoked. You feel pity for your hero. You feel fear for your hero. And then you get purgated. Moksha ki prapti, hawa mein. When you're above from these emotions. According to Aristotle, the aim of tragedy was to get catharsis. What is catharsis? Proper purgation. Write it down. What is purgation? Purgation is catharsis. Purgation is catharsis. Those who are watching this video for the first time, I don't need PPT. I have a big team, they can give me PPT and all. PPTs make lecture artificial. If you have knowledge, you can just take a pen and board, right? So that's the reason I'm writing it. I can get a PPT. इन सब की PPT मुझे सिर्फ फोन करना होगा कि एरिस्टोटल पे ये लो 25 PPTs बनाना है ऐसे ऐसे. But होगा क्या? What will happen? It will become artificial. Why? If I have one PPT in front of me, I will have to think like that. If there is nothing, my mind is thinking using my last experience of all my exams, all my learnings. ऐसे समझा सकते हैं, वैसे समझा सकते हैं, ऐसे easy बना सकते हैं, right? So that's why I'm not using this. Otherwise, we have technology. We can go for a lot of other things. आपको भी ऐसे पढ़ना है. Don't take a habit of carrying a stick. Dependent मत हो, ठीक है? No need to get dependent on PPTs and things. Use your brain, read it. Now, did you get it? Catharsis. What is catharsis? Proper purgation. When you do not care about life and death, you don't care about being sad. How many of you cry if you're not able to watch your favorite show? Suppose you wanted to watch your favorite show, but there is an electricity cut. Do you cry? No. But when we were kids, शक्तिमान आता था, लाइट चली जाती थी, बड़ा गुस्सा आता था. 200-300 कर्सेस दे देते थे हम लाइट वाले को कि लाइट वाला ये, लाइट वाला वो. Why? Emotions. Now we are purgated from those emotions, right? We are not 100% purgated, but we are purgated from those emotions. Now all the girls who are watching it, do you again cry when there is a Barbie doll, it's broken? अभी रोते हो क्या? अगर अभी कोई रोता तो मुझे कमेंट में बताना, right? So, I hope you understood the idea of tragedy. This is a special lecture for UPSC, CUET, and NET. Now, What are the elements of tragedy? According to Aristotle, there are six important parts of tragedy. पेपर में क्वेश्चन आएगा, what are the important elements of tragedy? Elements of tragedy. Six important parts. Six parts. Notes बनाओ, शाबाश. Write it. इन सबके नाम लिखने हैं. These are Greek names. Normally they ask English names, but I wanted to teach you the Greek names also. I was getting confused in these two names. मेरा भी बहुत टाइम से रिवाइज नहीं किया मैंने. Rest of these names were clear to me. So I wrote it so that you can read and I will not make any mistake, right? That's the duty of a teacher, to give you the good content. So let's go for it. The first and most important thing: plot, character, thought, diction, music, spectator, जो और रजिस्टर्ड ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स हैं इन माय लेक्चर ऑफ criticism, all of these things are properly narrated. What is plot, what is episodic plot, what is complex plot, why plot is called soul of tragedy, is it possible to have a tragedy without plot or characters. वहां पे मैंने एग्जांपल भी दिया. I have given the example of the shortest play with no characters at all. So when you will do the lectures of criticism in your batch, जब आपको आपके lectures मिलेंगे, when you will get your lectures, you will get detailed study of these things. Right now, as this is a public lecture, point 8, that 6 essential parts, these are Greek names, because Aristotle was a Greek man. Greek terms, these are English names. Please remember this thing, that most of the students make a mistake in exam. In exam, sometimes they ask you that, okay, out of these 6 things, which one is more important? सबसे important क्या है? So I have already written according to their importance. Most important, number 1. Number 2, second important. Third important, number 3. Fourth important, number 4. They are already in order. Means, which is most important? Plot. Which is least important? सबसे बेकार कौन सा है जिसकी जरूरत नहीं है? Spectators. Please take a screenshot or make notes. ये मिस मत करना दोस्तों. Now, let's go for next point. Key points of the tragedies. What are the most important key points of the tragedy? The first thing that you have to see, every tragedy has hamartia. This is very much important thing. A tragic error, a tragic flaw. There is a mistake in characters, decisions, error of judgment, virtue in excess. For example, Hamlet. Hamlet's hamartia was, Hamlet used to think a lot. Have you read Hamlet? If not, read it. Hamlet's friend tells him, Bhai, I have seen the soul of your father. Guards have seen it. तुम्हारे पापा की आत्मा घूम रही है. Go and talk. Hamlet says, okay, I will go and talk. Hamlet goes. In the midnight, he finds out a mysterious figure, talks to the figure and finds out that yes, it is actually the soul of father. Hamlet's father got killed, murdered. Hamlet के father आते हैं, आगे क्या बोलते हैं? बदला ले मेरा, बदला. If you have seen the movie Heather, हैदर में क्या बोलता है वो शाहिद कपूर का फादर, which is based on Hamlet? उसकी दोनों आंखों में एक एक गोली मारना. यहां पे भी बोलता है वो, टेक माई रिवेंज हैमलेट, मेरा बदला लेना. बट हैमलेट कौन है? हैमलेट इज बिजी ऑन इंस्टाग्राम. पता नहीं यार सोल है भी कि नहीं है. टेल मी दिस, you are in 16th century wala time, you are a prince, the soul of your father has come and talks to you that beta, my son, take my revenge. And he's still thinking whether he wants to take the revenge or not. Then he thinks that okay, let's become mad and behave mad. Then he's talking stupid in front of his uncle, knowing that my uncle is murderer. Then he wants to perform a play. कौन सा बेटा ऐसा करता है? हैमलेट के पापा को भी लगता होगा पैसा बर्बाद, किसको पैदा किया, किसको पढ़ाया. सो व्हाट इज hamartia ऑफ हैमलेट? indecisiveness, noble in actions. What is Hamartia of Macbeth? Ambitions, over ambitions. Othello का क्या है? Possessiveness. अपनी वाइफ पे डाउट है, मार दिया उसको, है ना? धाए धाए धाए. So then Peripetia क्या है? Peripetia, reversal of fortune. The conditions got changed. King Lear became beggar. Beggar becomes king. These kind of things. Anagnorisis क्या है? Nemesis is punishment. Denouement is the ending of the part story. Logos pathos is language and effect of language. अगर आपने ये टर्म्स फर्स्ट टाइम सुनी है और ऊपर से कोचिंग ले रखी है तो डब्बा गोल है. ये सारे पॉइंट्स याद रखना है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इन आवर क्लासेस आई ऑलरेडी हैव टॉट. इनफैक्ट ये फ्री लेक्चर भी मिल जाएंगे आपको. यू कैन चेक माय फ्री लेक्चर्स ऑन एरिस्टोटल. ये मिल जाएंगे. यू विल फाइंड द कंप्लीट डिटेल ऑफ अमर्शिया, पेरिपेशिया, अनाग्नोरिसिस, these things, complete details. And those who are already registered in the batch, in the lecture of Aristotle, you will find out all these things. ये आपको सारा मिलेगा. So make sure you remember that. You go to exam, these 6 terminologies, they can come in exam and they can trouble you. What is this? What is that? What is Hamartia? Especially the problem is the students who are studying in the village area, rural towns, no guidance, no coaching. They make a lot of mistakes. Their teachers are not teaching these things. So make sure you do not miss that. The next point, टाइप्स ऑफ ट्रेजेडी. ये जो पॉइंट आपको याद रखना है, एंशियंट टाइम में मोस्ट ऑफ द ट्रेजेडीज वर हीरोइक ट्रेजेडी. बेओवुल्फ, राइट? हीरोइक ट्रेजेडी. या जो वेयर हीरो इज फाइटिंग फॉर नेशन, डाइंग फॉर नेशन, जूलियस सीजर. रिवेंज ट्रेजेडी, थॉमस केड, फादर ऑफ रिवेंज ट्रेजेडी इन English. Hieronymo is mad again. Your Hamlet, where the hero is taking revenge. Hamlet, revenge tragedy. Then Jacobean writers used to write revenge tragedy. Duchess of Malfi, revenge tragedy. A woman killed with kindness, revenge tragedy. Right? So heroic tragedy, revenge tragedy, or for domestic tragedy. Just think about what is domestic tragedy. Thomas Orphan wrote, Thomas Otway wrote Orphan in 1680. That is the first domestic tragedy in English. Thomas Otway, famous work Orphan, 1680. Castelio, Acasto, Lady Monimi are the characters. I teach these things in my class in detail. Those who are registered in the classes, आपको मैं ये भी पढ़ाऊंगा. I will teach you this also, that in this book, the girl gives a secret signal to the boy. 3 soft stroke on a chamber door. Tuck, tuck, tuck. That's the important work. These are ancient types of tragedies. Now, the modern ones. See, remember the point that in modern ones, tragedies developed by Shakespeare are added. First thing, complex tragedy by Shakespeare. So there are some historical plays which are called complex tragedies. Write in the comments if you know about complex tragedies. Then, Shakespeare came with romantic tragedy. The first person to develop the idea of romantic tragedy is Shakespeare. Romantic comedy, John Lilly. Then tragic comedy, half tragedy, half comedy. And along with this, we have a lot of postmodern tragedies. Theatre of cruelty, comedy of menace are those kind of tragedies. And Alexander and Kennedy's play, that is also one tragedy. I missed the name. Kennedy, Alexander Kennedy, kind of. Now, these are the types of tragedy. We will be discussing these things in coming lectures. Please make sure you remember that. Aristotle, tragedy of definition, what is tragedy, what are the essential parts of tragedy, 6 essential parts, all of these things are very important. Criticism में बच्चे बोर हो जाते हैं. So I tried my best to not to bore you and get you involved. And those who are willing to be the part of the batch, तो अभी भी CUET PG admissions are going on. अगर आपको अभी भी join करना है, so you can just join because admissions are going on. We will close the admissions soon. You will get these kind of lectures along with preparation lectures, question answer solution lectures. जैसे आज कर्नाटका सेट हुआ है, in registered batch, Uttarakhand set, Karnataka set, these solutions, Gujarat set, you will be getting all the solutions. PYQs भी होंगे. अगर CUT PG English join करना है आपको, WhatsApp me now. Now, if you're for UPSC, किसी यूपीएससी स्टूडेंट को भी लगता है आई वांट टू स्टडी लाइक दिस, दिस इज माई कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर, आप मुझे यहाँ पे कॉन्टैक्ट कर सकते हो. What about net students? Classes going on. We are getting a great response of Google Drive course. The best thing about Google Drive course is that it is bilingual. So students coming from small town are able to relate. So they are going for it. So if you want to go for Google Drive course, you can just WhatsApp me on this number. और इसके अलावा कोई भी क्वेरी, कोई भी सजेशन, कोई भी क्वेश्चन, एनी पीएचडी जॉब, कुछ भी पूछना हो और पेपर वन सजेशंस, एनीथिंग, you can text me on this number. You will get my replies. Till then, thank you so much. I hope I did justice with my lecture. Subscribe the channel if you're new to this batch. Thank you.